You are not poor simply because you earn too little. You are poor because the world taught you how to survive, but never taught you how to acquire power. You were told to work hard, save every dollar, follow the rules, and wait patiently. But after years of doing everything right, your bank account is still nearly empty. Prices rise, rent rises. Debt continues to follow you. Meanwhile, the rich seem to make more money without working harder than you. That is not a coincidence. The poor are paid to work inside a system. The rich are paid because they know how to use it. You sell your time. They buy the time of others. You look for ways to save a few dollars. They look for ways to turn $1 into an asset. You are afraid of losing the little money you have. They understand that this fear is precisely what keeps you at the bottom. Machiavelli understood a truth that modern society rarely says aloud. The world does not reward the most deserving. It rewards those who understand power, value, leverage, and human nature. So this is not a video about positive thinking. It will not tell you that money will appear if you simply believe hard enough. It will show you 7 rules of thought that separate those who merely earn enough to survive from those capable of building real wealth. Some of these rules may make you uncomfortable, but if they do, perhaps they are exposing the beliefs that have kept you poor for far too long. Subscribe to Money is Power if you are ready to see money as a strategic game. Because the first rule begins with a brutal truth. You cannot build a wealthy life with the same identity that created your poverty. Rule 1. Identity before income. Most people believe wealth begins when their income increases. They imagine that once they get the promotion, launch the business, or make the right investment, they will finally become disciplined, confident, and strategic. They believe money will transform them into the person they need to be. But this order is backward. Money does not create your identity, it exposes it. Give more money to someone who thinks only in terms of immediate relief, and they will create more expensive forms of consumption. Give more money to someone who needs social approval, and they will purchase symbols of success before building its foundation. Give more money to someone who avoids responsibility, and they will find larger opportunities to blame others. This is why sudden income rarely produces lasting wealth. If your identity cannot control money, money will eventually control you. Machiavelli observed this pattern in political power. Many men wanted the position of a prince, but few developed the judgment required to remain one. They desired the crown without preparing for the weight of the crown. When power arrived, their weaknesses became visible. Fear turned into cruelty, pride created enemies. Poor judgment opened the door to betrayal. Wealth works in much the same way. Before asking how to earn more, ask what kind of person could responsibly hold more. A wealthy identity does not mean pretending to be rich. It does not mean buying luxury clothing, speaking confidently about investments, or displaying a lifestyle you cannot afford. That is performance, and performance is often the most expensive form of poverty. A wealthy identity is quieter. It delays pleasure when delay creates advantage. It protects time as carefully as money. It studies systems instead of complaining about outcomes. It accepts temporary invisibility while developing valuable skills. Most importantly, it makes decisions according to a future position rather than a present emotion. Imagine 2 people earning the same salary. The first sees every paycheck as permission to consume. When income rises, expenses rise with it. Their lifestyle improves, but their position remains fragile. The second sees income as raw material. A portion pays for survival, another builds reserves, another acquires skills, assets, or access to better opportunities. Their life may look ordinary for years, but beneath the surface, their power is accumulating. The difference is not initially money, it is identity expressed through repeated decisions. This is the uncomfortable part. Your current financial life is not merely something happening to you. It is also a reflection of the standards, habits, and decisions you have repeatedly tolerated. That does not mean every hardship is your fault. The world is unequal, and opportunity is not distributed fairly. But surrendering all responsibility also surrenders all power. You cannot control where you started. You can control the identity making your next decision. So stop asking, when will I finally have enough? Ask a more dangerous question. What would the person capable of building wealth do with what I have today? Live from that answer long enough, and income will stop being your master. It will become your instrument. Rule 2. Value matters more than hard work. Poor people are often taught that if they work hard enough, they will eventually receive the reward they deserve. But the market does not pay you according to how exhausted you are. It pays you according to the value you create, the scale of the problem you solve, and the number of people willing to pay for that solution. A laborer may work 12 hours under the sun and return home completely exhausted. Meanwhile, a negotiator may spend 2 hours in a boardroom and earn more than the laborer makes in an entire year. This may feel unfair, but money does not measure sacrifice. It measures impact, scarcity, and replaceability. Machiavelli understood that power rarely belongs to the person performing the most work directly. It usually belongs to the person who knows how to organize resources, direct action, and decide where strength will be applied. In the world of money, value also exists at different levels. The lowest level is execution. You are paid to complete a specific task. If you stop working, your income stops as well. This work is necessary and respectable, but it is limited by your time and physical energy. The next level is coordination. Instead of merely completing the work, you manage people, processes, and outcomes. One good decision can improve the productivity of an entire team. Above that are communication and influence. Salespeople, negotiators, content creators, and leaders can use words to change perceptions and move thousands of people to act. The highest level is system design. Here, you no longer merely participate in the game, you build the platform, product, or rules within which other people operate. Think about an application used by millions of people. Its founder does not personally serve every customer. They create a system capable of distributing value even while they sleep. That is why their wealth can grow faster than the income of someone who sells their time. The mistake most people make is trying to work harder at the same level. They increase their hours, accept more responsibilities, and sacrifice more of their health without changing the kind of value they create. If you want to increase your income, do not merely ask, "How can I work harder?" Ask, "How can my work reach more people, solve a larger problem, or produce a result that few others can create?" You do not need to abandon your current job immediately, but you must stop treating busyness as evidence of progress. Dedicate time to learning how to sell, communicate, manage, use technology, or build systems. Because in a world poor in thought, the hardest worker is often rewarded with nothing more than additional work. But the person who understands value learns how to control outcomes. Rule 3. Leverage changes the game. Working harder can increase your income, but only leverage can separate your results from the number of hours you work. This is one of the most important differences between people who remain financially trapped and those who build wealth. The poor depend almost entirely on personal effort. The rich search for forces that can multiply effort. Leverage is anything that allows one decision, 1 hour, or $1 to produce a result greater than its original size. It can take the form of capital, technology, media, systems, knowledge, or other people's skills. Without leverage, growth is painfully linear. You work 1 hour and receive payment for 1 hour. To earn twice as much, you must work twice as long. But There are only 24 hours in a day, and your energy has a limit. Eventually, your body becomes the ceiling of your income. With leverage, the relationship changes. A programmer can build software once and sell it to thousands of customers. A creator can record one video and reach millions of viewers. An investor can place capital into an asset that continues producing returns without requiring constant labor. A business owner can create a process that employees repeat across hundreds of transactions. In each case, the person is no longer selling effort alone. They are building a machine that multiplies effort. Machiavelli understood leverage in terms of political power. A ruler could never personally monitor every street, enforce every order, or fight every enemy. He needed alliances, institutions, reputation, and loyal commanders. His strength came not from what he could do alone, but from the forces he could organize and direct. The same principle governs wealth. Yet many people reject leverage because it feels uncertain. A salary offers an immediate and predictable reward. Building a system may produce nothing for months. Creating content may attract no attention. Learning a valuable skill may not increase your income immediately. Investing always involves risk. So people return to what feels safe, selling another hour. But safety can become a trap when it prevents multiplication. This does not mean quitting your job, borrowing recklessly, or trusting every opportunity that promises passive income. Real leverage requires judgment. Debt can multiply gains, but it can also multiply mistakes. Employees can expand a business, but poor leadership can expand chaos. Technology can save time, but only when attached to something people genuinely value. The goal is not to escape work. The goal is to make your work continue producing after the original effort is finished. Begin with what you already possess. Can your knowledge become a product? Can a repeated task become a process? Can technology automate part of your work? Can one relationship connect you to a larger network? Can saved money purchase an asset instead of another temporary pleasure? The wealthy do not merely ask, "How much can I earn from this?" They ask, "How many times can this decision continue paying me?" That question changes your relationship with time. And once time is no longer the only thing you can sell, the rules of money begin to change in your favor. Rule 4. Concentration creates power. Leverage is powerful, but it becomes useless when your attention is divided across too many directions. Most people do not suffer from a lack of opportunity. They suffer from an inability to remain committed to one opportunity long enough for it to produce meaningful results. They start a business, then abandon it when growth feels slow. They learn a skill, then switch to another because someone online claims it is more profitable. They invest in one market, panic when prices fall, and chase whatever is rising next. Their direction changes every few months, so nothing has enough time to compound. Movement creates the appearance of progress. Concentration creates actual power. Machiavelli understood that a ruler who attempted to defend every territory equally would eventually weaken all of them. Resources had to be concentrated where they could produce the greatest strategic advantage. Strength scattered across 10 battles could lose them all. The same strength directed toward one decisive position could change the outcome of an entire war. Your attention operates in the same way. Every goal demands time, energy, knowledge, and emotional endurance. When these resources are divided among too many ambitions, each receives only enough effort to remain alive, but not enough to become powerful. This is why successful people often appear unusually narrow in their focus. For years, they may study one market, solve one category of problem, or develop one valuable ability. From the outside, their progress looks repetitive. Then the results arrive, and everyone calls it sudden success. But it was never sudden. It was concentrated time. Concentration allows knowledge to deepen. Deep knowledge improves judgment. Better judgment creates better decisions. and better decisions, repeated within the same field, begin to compound into reputation, opportunity, and wealth. The challenge is that concentration feels boring before it becomes profitable. There is no excitement in repeating the fundamentals. There is little social recognition in quietly improving while others announce new plans. The temptation to change direction becomes strongest precisely when the work stops feeling new and begins demanding discipline. That is where most people leave, and where strategic people begin separating themselves from the crowd. Concentration does not mean stubbornly protecting a failing plan. If evidence shows that the market does not want what you offer, adapt. But adaptation is different from distraction. One changes the method while preserving the objective. The other changes the objective whenever discomfort appears. Choose a field where skill, demand, and leverage can meet. Then give it enough uninterrupted attention to reveal its potential. Measure results, correct mistakes, and remove activities that consume energy without improving your position. Ask yourself where your time went during the last 12 months. Your calendar will reveal your real priorities more honestly than your ambitions ever could. Scattered attention creates scattered results. If you want uncommon wealth, stop collecting opportunities. Choose the right one and remain there long enough to become difficult to replace. Rule 5. Expand your capacity instead of worshipping cheapness. Poor thinking is not simply having little money. It is organizing your entire life around the fear of losing what little you have. That fear creates a dangerous habit, evaluating every decision by price instead of value. You choose the cheapest tool, even if it wastes hours. You remain in an environment with no opportunity because moving feels expensive. You avoid learning a valuable skill because the course costs money, then spend years earning less because you never acquired it. Each decision appears responsible in isolation, but together they preserve the condition you are trying to escape. There is nothing wrong with being careful. Wasteful consumption destroys wealth. Luxury, purchased for approval, is not investment. It is insecurity, wearing expensive clothing. But strategic frugality and fearful cheapness are not the same. Strategic frugality removes expenses that do not improve your life or position. Fearful cheapness rejects useful investments simply because they require money today. One protects resources. The other protects limitations. Machiavelli understood that rulers could not preserve power by avoiding every cost. Fortifications, alliances, trained soldiers, and reliable information were expensive. But refusing to pay for them could make defeat far more expensive later. The intelligent question was not, how do I spend nothing? It was, which cost strengthens my position? Apply the same question to your financial life. When something appears expensive, do not immediately blame the price. Ask whether it produces value, saves time, increases capability, or creates access. Then ask whether a cheaper alternative can achieve the same result without hidden costs. Sometimes the correct answer is to walk away. Not every course teaches a valuable skill. Not every investment creates a return. Not every expensive tool improves performance. Wealthy thinking does not mean saying yes to higher prices. It means judging costs by consequences. The deeper shift is moving from, how can I make everything cheaper, to, how can I increase my ability to produce? There is a limit to how much you can reduce your expenses. You cannot cut your way below zero. But your ability to create value can continue expanding through skill, reputation, relationships, technology, and ownership. A person obsessed only with saving may spend hours trying to preserve a small amount of money. A strategic person may use that time to build a skill capable of generating far more. The first protects cash. The second expands capacity. Start by examining where cheap decisions are costing you time, health, reliability, or opportunity. Perhaps outdated equipment slows your work. Perhaps avoiding professional advice exposes you to larger mistakes. Perhaps remaining in the wrong environment keeps your standards low. Do not spend recklessly to feel ambitious. Invest deliberately to become more capable. The goal is not to look wealthy, it is to become increasingly difficult for financial problems to control. The poor ask, "Can I afford this?" The strategic ask two questions. What return can this create? And what must I become so that this cost no longer threatens me? That is how money stops being a wall and becomes a measure of the capacity you still need to build. Rule 7. Convert everything into leverage. Most people divide life into two categories: things that make money and things that cost money. Strategic people see a third category: resources that can be converted. A purchase can become knowledge, a conversation can become access, a hobby can become a valuable skill, a mistake can become information. Even an ordinary routine can become a system that continues producing value. The difference is not always what people possess, it is the question they ask about it. The average person asks, "What can I get from this?" The strategic person asks, "What can this become?" Imagine two people attending the same industry event. Both pay the same admission fee and hear the same speakers. The first listens passively, collects a few notes, and returns home. The second studies the participants, begins useful conversations, follows up with specific ideas, and turns one evening into relationships that may create opportunities for years. The cost was identical, the conversion was different. The same principle applies to money. A laptop can be entertainment, or it can become a tool for building products and reaching customers. A meal at a restaurant can be simple consumption, or it can create a relationship with someone whose knowledge changes your direction. A book can become decoration, or its ideas can be tested and transformed into action. Nothing becomes leverage automatically. Conversion requires intention. Machiavelli examined every element of political life according to its strategic use: reputation, alliances, public perception, geography, timing, and even the ambitions of rivals. A capable ruler did not merely possess resources, he understood how one form of power could be converted into another. Reputation could create obedience without force. Alliances could provide strength without direct ownership. Information could prevent battles before they began. Wealth follows a similar logic. Money can purchase time. Time can develop skill. Skill can create value. Value can build reputation. Reputation can attract relationships, and relationships can open access to opportunities money alone cannot buy. But the chain breaks when a resource is consumed without producing anything beyond immediate pleasure. This does not mean every moment must become a business transaction. Rest, friendship, and enjoyment have value of their own. A life optimized only for profit becomes another kind of poverty. The principle is simpler. Stop allowing your most important resources to disappear without intention. Review where your time, money, knowledge, and attention went during the last month. Which expenses strengthened your position? Which conversations expanded your understanding? Which habits created something that remained after the moment passed? Then, choose one resource you already have and give it a second purpose. Turn your experience into guidance. Turn repeated work into a process. Turn savings into ownership. Turn an audience into trust. Turn trust into a product that genuinely solves a problem. Poor thinking consumes resources until nothing remains. Strategic thinking converts resources until each one begins supporting the others. That is the final rule. Wealth does not begin with possessing more. It begins with seeing more possibilities in what you already possess. These 7 rules will not make you rich overnight. Nothing honest can promise that. But they can change the position from which you make every financial decision. Build the identity before demanding the income. Create value instead of worshipping effort. Use leverage so your results are no longer chained to your hours. Concentrate long enough for skill and reputation to compound. Expand your capacity instead of organizing life around cheapness. Calculate the price of waiting and convert the resources you already possess into something that continues producing value. The world may be unfair, but refusing to understand how it works will not make it fairer. It will only leave you easier to control. That is the deeper lesson behind Machiavellian thinking. Power begins with seeing reality without comforting illusions. You cannot choose the economy, your starting position, or every obstacle placed in your path. But you can choose whether those forces define your strategy or whether you learn to use them. Do not attempt to change everything tomorrow. Choose one rule that exposed a weakness in your current behavior. Write it down. Then take one measurable action before the next 24 hours end. Because clarity without action becomes entertainment. And knowledge that never changes behavior is only another form of consumption. Comment below with the rule you need most right now. Then subscribe to Money is Power for more lessons on wealth, psychology, strategy, and influence. Most people will return to their old habits after this video ends. A few will make a decision. In a poor world, those few eventually become the ones who write the rules.